And I will do a quick intro. I'm sitting here with a very dear friend who is actually was on the original Blackbird founding advisory board. We started this 7 years ago. We were sitting on the floor in our pilot location with Post-its, putting it on a wall. 7 years later, here we are. So I'm so happy Dana could join us. But Dana, do a quick intro.
Hello, I'm so happy that we manifested this beautiful dream that is Blackbird. So happy to be here with you. Hello, I am Dana Lynn North. I am a writer, director, producer, delightful disruptor, and proud. Delightful disruptor. It's just awesome. Self-described, delightful disruptor. But mostly I am proud to be friend and family and founding advisory member of Blackbird.
Yeah, thank you. She is my cousin. You're my husband, but it's
cousins.
He tried to act like just because he known her since a baby, I can't be
We cousins. But hello, everyone.
And we'll do a quick intro with Daria, and then a little later we'll introduce the team.
Hello, some of you know me and see me every day. This is the new thing the kids are doing this. Yeah. Hi, my name is Daria Akila Camila Brown. I have been at Blackbird for a little over 7 months, and I lead the way in the business development and strategy areas. I also help out with a number of other things, and I really am excited to be here and see the familiar faces. And also, there's some new faces that I'd love to meet. So please, afterwards, let's make sure we get some time together. But yeah, I think this is great. I'm glad we're doing this.
Great, thank you. And we'll introduce the team in a minute. Today, the town hall is an annual town hall. We did miss a year with the fires that really affected many of us in LA, whether it was directly, indirectly, and we just acknowledge that year was a lot of growth. And we're really excited that the year ended with many of you who got to come to the Michelle Obama event. I felt like it was the Phoenix to get us through what was a bit of a rocky time for some of us personally. So this community town hall, we cultivate community. We've done this for 7 years. We started a pilot location. We moved during the pandemic. We did not anticipate that. We ran for about 7 months. We moved here after 2 years of virtual and really thinking about how do we serve community. I believe in physical space and us being together. We'll talk about that a little bit, but this is really to talk, to listen as well. I really want to hear from you. We work and think community all the time. We think about things that we want to do for you all and what we're going to do for the collective. And we need to also know, what are you seeing? What not? There's so many incredible visionaries that are part of this. And we want input, we want feedback and leadership. And we have certain members who suddenly start to lead programs. So we'll talk about that. So today we're just calling it RISE. Our framework is reflect, inspire, share, and engage. This town hall will go about 45 minutes with some Q&A. We'll probably, if it goes an hour, that there's that many questions. And then there'll be closing, have connect, talk. I think in this time, really connecting with people who are doing the beautiful work, light work, is essential because it's a profound time. So we'll talk about our current events, State of the Union, locally and globally. We'll talk and share stories. If anyone has a story, I want this also to be organic. If something sparks something, either make a note or just, like, remember, raise your hand in school. I don't know how the kids do it now. They seem like they just text a response on an app or something. But and then share. We're going to talk a little bit. Think about spring goals. Could be summer, fall, winter, but goals at how Blackbird can serve your professional journey. We really want to just dive and pour into you in ways that we think about and now we've been able to do over the past few years, and then engage in organic conversation. I wanted to reflect a little bit on the state of the times. Oh, I got to do this one too. There we go. I wanted to reflect a little bit on just the state of the union, not just this union, but another union that we're all a part of. And how we're navigating locally and globally. We set our stakes to be this space and never imagined I never imagined in my lifetime that this would be the journey we'd see. It's not new, it's just new to us, and it feels daunting because we didn't think we'd go have these things backwards where words have to change. Major corporations, 63% of major corporations have scaled back or dismantled DEI programs. That we did some research and just pulled things up. 20% of BIPOC employees see racial identity as a barrier, as a direct career barrier. And this is from a report that came out in 2025. And then one that resonates with me a lot is 50% of US adults experience loneliness, and it's higher among women of color. And I always want to ground in that. I am around people, I have a beautiful tribe, intersecting tribes of community, and there are those times many of us who are founders or the only one in the room, we're leading organizations with, just the dregs of what goes out to other organizations. It's a lot. When we're together, I feel like everything is possible. So just wanted to ground us in that, and the loss of mentorship pipelines, and really the consciousness and the loss of shame almost that this isn't an initiative. So the antidote is collective, individual resilience is actually collective care. So we think that as much as we want to be a luxury space in that we're just creating beautiful, meaningful experiences, we don't want there to be a barrier to that. So there's other initiatives we'll talk about. Inspire, part of our, so that's our reflect. Oh, thank you, Darius. I should just give this to her. I'm going to be like, I just want to take, we can support you. Yes, there we go. There we go. You don't have to do anything alone. But I'll stop there. Any questions so far, or any studies you all are seeing that, yes.
I run a postpartum care company, this week is Black Maternal Health Care Week, so we happen to be sharing a lot of studies. So just to add to your statistics, one of the things that we see, especially with new moms, and a lot of you are moms or are friends with moms, but they disproportionately affect Black and brown women, specifically Black women, especially in LA County, so specific to LA. There's only about 5% of all OBGYN carriers in this county are Black. And so it's a really, really small amount. I just had a hysterectomy after having cancer, and I was one of the only Black surgeons I could find. And I think there is this sense of, it's very different when you're getting treated by a woman of color, in my opinion, as a woman of color. And I think, calling attention to really vulnerable parts of our lives or periods, just to add to that, but over 50% of maternal death happens with specifically Black women, specifically in the United States postpartum. So there's a disproportionate amount suffering from myocardiopathy and preeclampsia. It disproportionately affects this group of people. And so I think we're doing a lot of work on figuring out, how do we solve for this in the lack of federal funding against women's health research. So I'm in a very specific niche, but my goal this year is to figure out how to incorporate more women's healthcare. A lot of PPD, postpartum depression, carries through life. Women of color are disproportionately affected by depression. So in general, I would love to figure out how to connect that, through line in terms of healthcare as well.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. For anyone online, I don't know if you heard that, but Nina was just, thank you also for being such a wonderful Blackbird member. But Nina was sharing about the work, and the work that you all are doing is incredible and needs to be amplified. But sharing about the maternal health issues that face us. And in fact, the entire reproductive journey for women is, there's so much now about postpartum and even menopause. Like, what's that called? That I'm supposed to be menopause. Yeah, that thing. I think I forgot. It's almost like I had menopause. And I'll share that, I am of a certain age, and I had my last period Juneteenth 2025. How militant is that? I was like, last day, boom. Let's roll, yo. So, I say that to say, like, when June comes, it'll be official year, and I am in the work, and I'm just learning. So if our young women learn about their body and the whole journey, I think it is really important. And so anyway, thank you for sharing that. I think I'm gonna start with just the wellness is no longer optional part of Inspire. It is no longer optional. I'm gonna let Dana talk a little bit, because we're talking about, entrepreneurship among Black, Brown, Indigenous women is surging. It continues to surge, even with us not having the economic. We just go. We're still. Community is the infrastructure. Creative economy is booming. Speaking of a creative entrepreneur who is building new infrastructure and dealing with wellness, Dana, please talk a little bit about that, and those of you in that work of what we want to do with Blackbird and that.
Thank you. Yes, that resonates. What I didn't mention earlier when I introduced myself is that I am both the founder of a production company called Loud Sis Productions, and as part of that, I started Being Loud Sis, which is the wellness branch of that company, and that was born out of the the journey, the struggle, the back and forth and up and down of working for years in this industry, in the industry of film and television, and working as a creative, which is wonderful and fun, but realizing how much I had been pouring from an empty cup, without, and just that being such my mode of operating, and working with friends and dealing with so many of us where I would find myself in conversations going, but how are you taking care of yourself? But how are you, and as much as we might talk about the work, I wanted to know, but do you have a meditation practice? Do you go to yoga? What do you do? Do you have what kind of support do you have? And executive coaches are great, but is that something I can afford? Or is that just for the Bill Gateses and of the world, right? And so as I started learning and hitting my own walls as well, I also came out of the silent disability closet a few years ago with having an autoimmune illness, and for years feeling like there's no way that I can stack minority, woman, this and that, and then be out about having an autoimmune illness. I'll never work, right? And so, just all of these things that were just stacked that I realized the tools that I'm going to need to just get through. I want to build them. I want to build them with friends. I want to have community. And so Being Loud Sis was something that I started to talk about. But here at Blackbird, it was so beautiful to recognize that one of the pillars of a community like this, wellness is not optional, right? If you want to be a founder, if you want to be in the work of building a business, it's not possible to just go, oh, but I'll rest later. That's how I ended up in the hospital when I was younger, because I was like, but I've got job opportunities. I'll rest later. But I can go write this script. I'll rest later, And so it took me a while to get it. But as I have gotten and gained a deeper understanding that it's not optional to put the rest of the side, to go out, we'll get to that later. And then being able to build community with fellow founders and women and people who just recognizing it's a daily practice, right? Recognizing that for me, I have to keep reminding myself, and I want people around where we can lovingly hold each other accountable about, but how are you prioritizing yourself in the midst of it? And so that's something that, again, it's one of the things that I love, kind of holding that piece of, that one of the many beautiful pillars about Blackbird. I love being a steward of how do we keep our wellness and ourself at the center of our work. Because otherwise, as you know, we won't be here, we won't be able to do the work if we're not well enough to do the work.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Dana. And we've watched it around the country, leading women in the loss, actual death, the death of women who are feeling that stress and feeling that bias. This is not a talking point for us. This is an actual call to action. And, we'll talk a little bit about that with Lisa, who does one of our Wellness Wednesdays. But how are we going to connect in ways and take action, executable actions that make sure we're doing that? Rest. And I'm guilty of it. I will go and run, and you're just I got deadlines, you go. It's your deadline will be your end line. And that is not that's not acceptable, because you can't do your work if you're not home. And I say it knowing that I'm not always great at that, and I imagine many of us who carry a lot are doing that. So just reminding that, and some part of the joy part is like when we come together and we, just do what we're doing and we connect and like, okay, it's not as bad, but in your own head, you can make a whole show out of it. So I'll talk a little bit about many of you know the pillars, especially if you've been a member for a while, but I'll talk a little bit about overall the pillars, and then we'll talk about the process of how we, or hear from anyone and just can answer some questions about like, where are you leaning? Productivity was one we really toyed with, which is like productivity, we are so productive. We do so much, should we? But some of us are, I just love to get things done, and it does give a sense of accomplishment. So if we have a focused, serene space to work, where your identity is actually a strength and not a barrier, imagine that. Especially as we think about now it's 600,000 Black women who left the job force either by necessity, choice, or were pushed out of the job force. And sometimes the choice is just the bias pushes you out. Sometimes you're laid off. Sometimes you cannot take it anymore, and that is actual real. So for us to have this pillar so many years ago and see how it's manifested, things in ways that we thought you felt gaslit. Like, well, it can't be because I'm a Black woman and I'm not getting funded. It can't be because, and now the data is all catching up in the studies. But we say that to say it as a knowledge, not as a definition of us. Our definition is that we rise. And then well-being, we talked about that as a birthright. I did get a chance to go to Ghana a couple weeks ago, and there's so much about really understanding our ancestry. I'm gonna ask Anna to speak a little bit about that, but she's like, you are? No, if you want to.
I understand.
She has the shirt on, she has, the Abbott Haley connection, and Haley Brown. But just claiming holistic as our reality, creativity. Many people are you're creative as a child. You just are. You don't think of it as a barrier to anything. And then people say, I'm not creative. It's like, maybe I'm not in touch with that, but let's welcome that creative thought and design think. And then for the storytellers, just space to think and dream. And then advocacy. We do a lot of advocacy here, and I think in this time, it's brave to be advocate. It's brave to be public, and it's brave to keep your Patrick Martinez Black-owned sign lit.
Yes.
And we have to do that in standing in, because it's joyous to turn that on every day. It's joyous to walk through and talk to people who are cultivating that. So, do you want to talk anything about you were going to say something about the pillars, or you?
I love the way you just covered them. I think what I will add, yeah, I mean, I can add that just for me, that's what's beautiful about this space, whether you're here in person, whether it's virtual, also the events that Blackbird holds and welcomes. Like what I love about the pillars is just that there's so many ways that they are represented in everything that Blackbird does. I mean, that's what's exciting to me, is I feel like people are magnetized, and you can find, like, I know for me, I find different ways to connect with Blackbird, whether it's a wellness event or whether it's meeting someone here to talk about, right, something creative that I'm working on. Like, for me, it's just different ways to intersect with the space.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're all thinking about for ourselves, is what does that mean to us? Wherever you go, wherever you're getting community connection, there should be multiple, and we could be mindful of how else can we be of service in this time, because I just did not expect it to be. We create a beautiful space, it's seen, you come, your shoulders drop, you feel at home, but there may be something more we need to do. So thinking about those first rooms we sat in, and then the rooms that we're in now, and it's just a lot. So we want to learn from that. I'm going to jump in and
Question?
oh yes.
Okay,
Please. Who has the mic?
The
floating mic.
I'm going to float until she comes
Okay.
around.
Yeah. Thank you. So we want to make sure we hear you.
There were some hands on the wall.
Hi, I'm India Martin. I'm not a member, but came at Bridget's invitation, and so I'm really grateful to be here. So thank you for this, because I intended to come and see the space, and I'm hearing things that really kind of draw out some things for me. And one of the things that kind of struck me as I was listening to the statistics, listening to the pillars, is that something that I hadn't heard yet, but I'm sure you'll talk about, is this underlying thing around economics and what that means for Black women. And that all of these things are underpinned by the economic uncertainty we face. So there's the 600,000 people out, there's founders not being able to raise, there's not knowing what's gonna happen tomorrow. There's a whole bunch of things that we have to be concerned about that other communities don't.
Yeah.
And so I just, it was this thing around community and financial wellness,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
there's this first relationship that we have with money. And then second to that, how do we more consistently and more thoughtfully draw our money together to make sure that we are doing the things we need to do for people who need it, but also for founders, whatever that looks like. And and it just feels like there's a huge opportunity in that we're not, I'm talking community-wide, that we're not taking a hold of in ways other communities do.
Yeah, thank you, Indy, and I know you're doing that work. We got to be at this incredible panel of 250 Black women around the country who lead organizations as one of one, and the work that you were doing with entrepreneurs, and it's just such a deep level. And I think you brought to the point the economics, the investment in self in a way where we value ourselves is very interesting. I've been watching, different founders' Instagrams, and people go to their space, and we have a partner space that needs to exist. They're gonna look for a new space, but they just closed. And everyone goes and gets a free event there, and they go and they, give free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Who can afford to breakfast, lunch, and dinner 15,000 people? Like, I just don't know how do we invest in those spaces, and what is our mindset? I feel like the disservice of growing up working class poor with my family, and like always looking for someone, because you just didn't have, you don't have a resource, you don't know how to get it. Information is very powerful, and even learning how money works and how we invest in ourselves and each other is different. So how do we make sure that we're invested, and how do we ask for what we need? I'm terrible at asking for what I need. So getting better at asking for what we need and not being shy about putting a dollar amount to it. Because you can't scale your business without money. You can't keep your things going without money. And this, multiple spaces have, it's just businesses. You see restaurants closing. They need to exist. We need to support them. So the one space that I call as a aligned organization, they're still thriving and they will open here, but we have to think when they open, how do we support and make sure they exist, because there's room for all of us and we actually need more of us. We cannot be the only one. That would be really, really terrible. So thank you for speaking of that. We'll go to, we're gonna kind of jump into what's next, because I do want to get into the Q&A. So I'm gonna turn this over to Daria, but first I wanna introduce the team. If y'all can stand up as Joe, Denisha.
Folks around the corner.
Can y'all come from around the corner? We are a stealth team. Denisha. You can say your name. And your role.
My name is Nisha. I'm a jack of all trades around here.
She is. She is.
My name is Joe Bullock. I'm the Director of Membership.
Hello, I'm Leanna Krause, Event Coordinator and Concierge here at Blackbird.
Hi, my name is Omatola Lajibutu. I'm Bridget's Executive Assistant.
Oh, she can use her mic.
Hi, I'm Ariana Robinson. I help out with community concierge and programming.
Amen. Deshaun, it's all shy. Day one, Deshaun.
Hi, I'm Deshaun Claire, and I am working in programming and social content.
And it's important to note everyone, because this is a small group doing large things. We are putting on what, should have 25 people. And I know that, and I recognize it, and we do it with limited resources. I'm a self-funded startup. So, and I I don't want to change what I have to do, and you have to make compromises when you go that way, and they make it possible for us to do that. So thank you all very much. I appreciate you. So with that, we'll turn it to Daria. She'll talk a little bit about what's next, and then we're going to just jump right into hearing from you because we're good. We're at the 30-minute mark, and we'll have another 15 for Q&A. So
Yes. Okay. Am I on? I am on.
You are on.
Okay, so I've got my notes. We've got some slides. I'm used to this. So for folks online, we have been showing a presentation. We'll get you guys this, but you'll see kind of what's next. And I won't go in depth to what's on the slide, but I just want to let you know it's about building. This little gem we have to start sharing this and getting this out with more people, definitely more women of color all across the globe, not just here in Los Angeles. And so in 2026, we're really about bringing the Blackbird Collective programming and services to women of color and our allies and our co-conspirators, just across a broader spectrum. And that's, again, physically, location-wise, here, the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. And then we also want to think globally how we're going to impact that. So you'll see some of those things that are going to actually help lead in the way. I will say we are 15,000 strong right now, probably over that, but that just needs to be in the millions. We know that, so or at least in the hundreds of thousands. So we really want to grow this special little gem that we have over the next year to 2 years, and as we look at the next 7 years of Blackbird. And we're not just one thing. For those of you who are new to Blackbird, we have this amazing membership society. We have co-working. We rent offices. We are an experiential event partner. So if you need to find an event, come. If you need to rent a conference room, come to us. But we're just much more than that. Again, we are this collective of amazing people coming together. And so again, we just want to continue to build and push in that space and get this out to more people. And we know this is kind of like a shifting market as well in segments. So Richard just mentioned it, but there are just different spaces and brands dropping in and out of this kind of space. And what we know is we're still here. Yeah. And there's a reason. And so we really need to figure out how to continue the sustainability of this amazing, again, special gift that Bridget has brought into the world. So what are we looking? Again, we're going to build on the business. We're building partnerships. We're building sponsorships. We are looking for operational excellence so that just small and mighty team, really what they're doing really is on a much bigger scale than what you guys see every day. And they're just getting after it and getting scrappy and getting it done. So we are also getting after experience. So you will start to see this kind of more elevated programming that we're going to be bringing to you. And we want to hear your ideas. As far as when we're revving up programming, it's really about you. Our services are about our members. So we want to hear from you. You saw Joe. Don't ever hesitate. Send Joe an email. He's here. He sits out here so he can be accessible. Please go up and tell him what's working, what's not. Share your thoughts. And then we want to also grow the team. So as we're growing the business, whether it's these partnerships and we're growing it from that perspective and we're doing more events and we're doing more programming, our team is going to expand as well. So those are the main things that we're getting after, but we're also looking for new business opportunities. So that's a little bit of a sneak peek or preview. We won't go deep on what that looks like, but we've got some exciting things coming down that we're working really hard on behind the scenes. Again, that are going to be new business opportunities that you as members and members-to-be will be able to take advantage of in the near future.
Thank you for sharing that, Daria. Yes, thank you, Daria. VP of Biz Building Partnerships. Like you said, we will be able to announce them once the ink is signed, but it is all, we think about y'all every day. Like what do we bring to this time? What do we bring to the community? So those you'll start to see, and we're going to host our Martha's Vineyard event. Anybody who's here, it's a free event to all members. If you're in Martha's Vineyard, we'll have our Juneteenth. There's some programs there. But again, deepening our stake in the ground as a storytelling studio and membership of visionaries. So we'll do that. I think we're going to, any questions on that before we jump into Q&A, but we want to hear from you. What are you building? Because we want to know, how do we invest in you? What are the things that you need? We're going to have as we talked about, one thing in that other slide was just the different arms of Blackbird being able to host programs and coaching. We do hear people who just want like office hours with people who are going to come in and volunteer their expertise just so they can listen and help. People want to pour into us. And so we're going to make space for that. There'll be some virtual and in person, but we need that information. I've had a lot of people pour into Blackbird. There is a tribe of people who've been advisors and mentors and just thought leaders and thought partners. So having that at your arsenal is really important. And then, are you hiring an executive coach for yourself? Are you giving yourself investing? We don't necessarily do that, but we can have a referral to people that we've heard are great. If you know someone great, like let's give people great resources, financial planners and advisors. I literally learned only recently about how people's money make their own money for them by sitting in accounts that you really monitor and that grow while you invest. I built my own independent wealth because I could invest in real estate early on when it was still reasonable in LA and turn that over. But I didn't know that I could have actually had that in an investment account and taken a line of credit on it, paid it back, and then that would be growing while I was making 25% return on my investment with what do you call it? Like elbow grease. But it could have been, there's like a really good debt. You grew up with the idea like, don't be in debt, but there's debt, don't be in, but there's good debt. And learning about that till recently, like, can help us because we need to have those. We're doing the work. Yeah.
Can I add one more thing just as we get ready to go to Q&A? Going back to just in terms of our relationship with money, building on that, but also from an energetic perspective. I'm gonna get a little woo-woo before as we, right? Recently I was watching a talk where someone was talking about, many of us know, like money is another form of energy. And I'm thinking about how as Black women and women of color, who are just in many ways, right, under a form of attack, under a form of, I want another word too, just right, there's a lot that's coming at us as a collective. And when we think about our relationship with money and the power that we have as Black women, I'm excited about whenever I'm in this space of Blackbird, whether I'm here filling out cards about, for voting for Kamala, if I'm here in a creative space, like the energy that comes alive in Blackbird, what I'm excited about is programming about harnessing our energy, because like what can happen when that energy is harnessed from in terms of our relationship with money. So in other words, bear with me, y'all, I'm going somewhere with this. Essentially, I'm just saying that there's such great opportunity, Bridget, to what you're speaking about with like, I'm excited about programming that we can do that helps us really understand our power, our energetic power. Because I think because there's so much, I'll speak for myself, because I feel sometimes so like I'm taking hits from different sides, right? This is being cut. That thing that I thought I was gonna get, I'm not gonna get, or, right? And sometimes it can feel easy to start to feel like my light being dimmed. And one thing connects to another thing, right? Where if I'm feeling like my light is dim, then it may be harder to ask for what I know I'm worth in this deal. It all just connects, right? But when I'm in a space like Blackbird, then I start to remember my power and my energy. And so I'm excited about programming that can help, that speaks to all of that. Does that make sense?
I do. I really appreciate that because money is freedom. It's really just freedom to have choices. And we grew up with my family grew up with there could be a shame around it. And we don't have to have a shame around it. And it's just literally freedom to go, oh, I'm going to go do this and go somewhere. I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to do the thing. It's fun. It's fun. It's just really fun. So, well, if you have support with, is there some professional goal, a creative project, a personal milestone, or something you need support with, a business, a skill you're learning, a wellness practice, a creative practice, partnership, where the collective support can be. And with that, I want to introduce Lisa Gordon-Kane, one of our distinguished members who does a Wellness Wednesday with us and is launching. I know, how can we be helpful to you? You are always giving to the community. No, that's not kidding.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And what does Blackbird do for me is it creates the energetic space that Dana's talking about. And every Wednesday, I come here, whether anybody comes up there with me or not, and I do something called Wellness Wednesday. We meditate for 10 minutes, okay? Then we have a little chat about something that somebody has mentioned to me here at the flagship for 10 minutes, and we break for 20 minutes, and we come back, and we talk a little bit more, and then we have another 10-minute meditation. And what we've been talking about lately is emotional labor and mental load, and really spending time on it, because it's something that we do in our workspace, in our homes, and it's something that we take on. Now, to tap on what you talked about with postpartum, this is another statistic. every 63 seconds, someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which is a form of dementia. And guess who the majority of those people are? Want to guess? Black women.
Wow.
Okay, Black women and brown women, mostly Black women. And it doesn't happen when you get to my age, because I'm at the rewiring age, not retiring, rewiring age. Okay, my years of completion. But it begins in young adulthood, based upon how much stress you take on, how you are dealing with your sleep habits, and what you're doing with your nutrition. And I'll say this last thing, and then I'll move on, because Blackbird has given me, I don't know really what Blackbird gives to me, except I keep coming, because what it's given me, I need. And that I don't count calories, I count ingredients.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you for what you give back. It really, you get access to our class, so you should do it. There's so much wisdom. Oh yeah, we live stream it too on our channel. Questions?
I'm about to first.
Okay, Ann, do you need to come up here? Yes. Okay, Ann Hayden
Oh, gosh. You know what? I really, and I'm going to take a point of personal privilege, if I may. I have known this lady for 35 years. We were not in, yes,
no,
we
we
were.
weren't in diapers. No, our babies were in diapers.
Yes, they were. And I say that, and every time I think on you and this, I get emotional. And I thank you all for helping continue it. We sat at a table in a restaurant.
Oh, we did.
We sure did.
Called Redbird.
And guess what? We called it out. Redbird.
It was Redbird.
From Redbird to Blackbird. No, but so I want to commend you first for recognizing that your sisters were there for you and ready to support this dream. Richard, I'm thinking about doing this. I was like, wow. We were all like, wow.
2018.
Do it. Yeah. And here we are. I won't take up too much of your time. No, but also, and Nina said it first. We have to support. Did you hear Nina say? Oh, Nina, I'm sorry. Nina, no, but Nina, did you hear her say she looked for a Black physician?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is what and when you talk about the money we have and that we have the liberty to decide where we spend it,
yes,
it is incumbent upon us to support Black businesses and Black professionals.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad you're gratifying. Okay, now, I am feeling very in touch with the ancestors right in through here. I am Ann Haley. Alex Haley was my uncle. I am the great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter of Kunta Kinte. And I say that with pride and with also some responsibility that I'm feeling more than ever this year. All of y'all are too young to know it, but Roots was published 50 years ago this year.
Wow.
In 1976. Can you believe it? Wow. See, we need more Wellness Wednesdays. And so I say that because I'm all the more conscious now of our ancestors. And I have to say, we hear people say all the time, you are your ancestors' wildest dream.
Yes.
This one here. I mean, really, do you think anyone lay in the hold of a ship coming across? I know, I don't make me mess us all up. And even thought that their progeny would have wrought something like Blackbird. I mean, could they have even dreamed it? And I say, so it was a wild dream, and you've done it. And I say that too, because I want to speak to our resilience. I watched Roots recently again. Woo. And really, you know, the beginning scene when Kunta is on the Lord Ligonier coming across just being in the hold of a ship like that, the fact that we survived it at all. I mean, and we all did, not everyone did, but we are made of some tough kind of stuff. And so let's continue to live our ancestors' dreams. So the resilience and also the storytelling. Roots came to be because my grandmother was sitting on that porch in Henning, Tennessee, talking about the African that her father had told her.
Wow.
And so that was Tom Murray, and that his father, Chicken George, had told him, and that his mother, Kizzy, had told him, and that her father, Kunta, had told her.
Wow.
So, and my father and Uncle Alex and baby brother Julius were sitting on that porch hearing these stories. And that's how Roots came to be. Storytelling. It's important that we continue to tell our stories, as there are powers right now that would seek to erase our stories.
Yes.
It is all the more incumbent upon us to tell them and preserve them. So.
Thank you.
And my dream is I'm writing a memoir.
Yes, that's
maybe. It's not a dream I'm doing.
Yeah.
And perhaps I will sit here one day and read it from you because it'll be published.
Please, we look forward to it. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Thank you, Ann Hughes.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Any other questions, comments, things that you are working on that you want to share? We would love to hear.
I would like to give a shout out to my friend who's in the audience, because Omi Bell is the founder of Black Girl Ventures, and is it your 10-year anniversary of Black Girl Ventures this year?
Oh, yeah.
I would just, the number, while we're talking about our ancestors' wildest dreams, you inspired me with that. Omi, would you mind just sharing approximately how many Black women founded companies you have? How many lives, just approximately?
You know, thank you, Dana. That was not ready, but
She wasn't ready.
when
We
she
let
was
people-
saying what she was saying about ancestors, I felt that because I was just talking about evolution. 39,000 Black and brown women we have served. We funded 550 small business owners to date. And I started in a house in Southeast DC. We all gathered, 30 people gathered, and it was just like, I'm gonna do this thing. I had no idea that you'd be here now, so thank you for that. I am now also looking at wellness, and so I was listening to the Wellness Wednesday, and I was like, I wonder if we can make that all day. I wonder if we can make Wellness Wednesday all day. I wonder what that would look like with various sessions, and like, I think big. I'm like,
She's a visionary.
There's so much there around rest as performance, rest as a financial mechanism, rest as like I was sharing with her. Everywhere that they tell us the deals are being made, if you think about it, there's a lot of serenity. So on the golf course, they're walking the nature.
Oh, yeah.
In the sauna, they're sitting wrapped in towels, supposedly having deal conversations with each other. In the sauna, private clubs, they have long dinners. They talk over what they want to create. So who's benefiting from the lie that we're telling ourselves? Oh, girl. So I think that, no, rest is it. Body as a mechanism of economic mobility. What does that look like? Right? And to the whole of the ship visual, they knew that body was a part of economic mobility. So, how do we intersect with what our agency means now? So, yeah, thank you for
busting her out.
I just wanted to honor you
Thank you.
in this moment and the journey toward wellness that you have made.
Yeah. And there's percentages around that. I don't know the exact amount. I'm trying to look it up. It's like somewhere between $400 and $500 billion in venture, and the percentage that goes to Black women is less than 1%. At one point, it had kind of gotten over that, it's like 1.5%. Then it's all gone backwards.
Right, 0.00.
Right. So if you think about that, and still we create more businesses than anyone, we are able to have ROIs that far exceed what we should be able to do. Case in point, I'm going to say this is I do this for a fraction of what anyone does. Luckily, I'm an interior designer, so I don't have to pay nobody to design it. But those factors go into us taking on so much burden and go back to the wellness of that's a lot to carry. And there are circles and ways that we can do this better. But that market, the venture capital market, think of that $500 billion is a small amount of what funds businesses. So if we're less than 1% of one big industry, and it's the smallest. Think about bank loans, think about business, SBA, all of those areas are how you actually get to scale, and then information. So we know that this is a big task. We're going to do one specific thing. We're putting our stake in the ground as a storytelling studio and a collective to support what you're doing, but it is one piece. And so that's why I'm saying all the spaces that exist to do this, we could have one, just like you get a Starbucks, or you used to get a Starbucks, or we work on every corner, we should have these kind of spaces and communals. And we do have them in different forms, and many forms do work. So any other, but I want to keep getting questions.
I think we've got one online.
Okay, great. Who, I don't know. Okay, Tanisha, can you read it?
Susan Reese
Oh, there we go.
says, how does Blackbird support B2B companies? Do you host events where B2B companies can showcase and introduce their services?
Yes, thank you.
That's from Susan Reese.
Thank you, Susan Reese. We actually have hosted markets. If you have a brand, it's a little bit easier. It depends. If you have a service, we do have rosters of people that we support. And so if you have a brand, we do a bazaar every Juneteenth where we support and highlight Black and brown, well, especially Juneteenth is Black businesses, but we also have a market that we do in holidays where we make sure people have Black-owned brands. During the pandemic, we did it as a list or pointing to people who are really doing an amazing job at this. So we're just one part of those, but I think part of it is the storytelling side of it, getting that word out. And I think there's more. We've hosted coaching and things like that for entrepreneurs to understand and discuss where they're at. We just did a coach upstairs, and we had Edie Clemens, who's a producer friend, who's pitched, just like, how do you pitch your story if you're a writer? How do you get that out? Because it sounds, and he's very successful at selling shows, and and then you don't even know you sell the show. That doesn't mean it makes it to air. You sell it, it gets filmed. It's still so understanding the whole journey of the creative side, and then Kiana Patterson, who is a coach, an investor. She supports a lot of businesses. She works with a lot of Kate and coach as well. So we just start these little parts of coaching in that way, and then highlighting and stories. And that's part of the where we're going with the storytelling studio, amplifying our platform and recording it, and just having it so members can see it more on our platform. Will be what we formally launch in October, which will be our official, even though we're 8 years in pop-ups, it'll be our official October 26th, 2019 was our first grand opening, even though Kamala had already come and all of that. That was our first grand opening, and it was, anybody who was there lit. We thought it was like 150 people and 500 came, and it was beautiful. We couldn't actually, the halls were like, we can't actually house it. But all that to say, to celebrate that, also will have a component of co-investing. And that's what I've even learned about how do you invest in each other. This was always started to be like, hey, people have started business together. They've done, so there's many ways that you can support a business that isn't one way or another. I am also personally an investor who's invested in funds. One of the funds I'm invested in is Emily Ventures. She is, Lakeisha's one of the co-founders, and Azine are amazing. And they're all into mostly maternal health and tech centered on women of color. So you can put your dollars behind it. We have our philanthropic dollars. There's so many ways. If you don't have a lot of dollars in your building, ask, make sure we know we need to invest in you. And how do we create pools and circles so that you can get, you have to do the work and get it to a point where it's a brand. And it's always start stealth. And do you need to raise? Is venture right for everyone? No. Venture is for you can speak to this more than anyone. It's like, do you want to scale and grow and sell? Like they want to exit. Private equity is a whole different thing. They want to take you and then basically take your business into a whole nother direction, or it's done. And then, or take it and put it under another, and then bank loans. There's so many ways. So thank you for that question. There's myriad ways. We'd love to hear more ways. We're always open to ideas and really focusing on the office hours side of it. In-person question, yes. Rachel? Yeah.
Hi, Rachel Seymour, member maybe a couple of years now. Just wanted to thank you so much for the space. I was looking for like a third place to get some work done, TV writer. Working out of the house for too long, and oh gosh, I need to find another spot. And I did a little bit of looking around Los Angeles, and this stood out above it all. Just the feeling, the vibe, the people, really conducive to getting work done. There's so many little niches you can get into. I mentioned the bazaars where people come here with their amazing stuff. Where I got this hat, Born to Rome. It's really great. They're wonderful hats. And also earlier, hearing about the wellness and interest in wellness, and it reminded me, and someone else mentioned too, about like, where a lot of these people, usually white men out in the golf course, getting business deals done and whatnot, they have their spaces where they get together, relax, and learn about each other, and sort of learn to trust each other and want to go into business with each other. We need a space like that too, and then this spot opens up, and you realize that this is it. This is a place where we can come and connect, and the wellness of it all. I mean, right there, Lisa's got a Wellness Wednesday. All of a sudden, we have to scale it up to Wellness Month, Wellness Year. We have the information that someone else here could use, and being able to use and be a part of something as amazing as this, to be able to help other people and let them know what you do, and hey, let me give you some information about that you're looking into. That's what these successful business people have been doing for forever, in their little clubs and whatnot. And so the fact that we have this space to do it, I think we're still kind of getting used to that muscle and realizing this is a space, this is the thing that we've been looking for. This is the synergy that we've been all, craving. The mentors, mentees, people with expertise in different areas that you didn't even know until you come to a meeting like this and you realize you do what? Oh, I didn't know you did that. And then reaching out to each other and whatnot. So amazing time. Oh, by the way, I'm not saying I was paranoid to take care of my mom. That's the last person on earth doing this. But yeah, and here again, when I saw about Blackbird, I saw the people with masks here. I thought, oh man, okay, all right. I'm not going to be, ostracized or something. And so this really is a spot to come to get your work done, to feel like you are enough, and find other people doing things that you're interested in. I think we just need to realize how special this place is, and be a part of it. Find your people here, because they're here, just like they're out in the world of those country clubs and on the golf course. And Ramel and I were talking about pickleball. I mean, pickleball is like the new golf, I mean, and also they're very interested in learning pickleball.
I like padel too. We should do that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Padel
What
is so
that?
fun. Padel. They have one near here. So
Yes.
we'll get some games together.
And it's hard to do that kind of like bonding out in the fresh air.
You taught me everything I know.
Oh, wait up, my pickleballers right here. Yeah, so I just wanted to say how grateful I am to be here. Everyone is so wonderful. It's really helped my writing, really helped me focus and get the job done. And then sometimes you come after hearing something in the news, and just coming here and being able to talk to other people that come from your same place is just, there's nothing like it. And it's amazing to exist. And when I see elders come here and they're like, I wish I had this as a kid. Imagine if I had this 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We have this now. And so I really, for people online and whatnot, if you're in Los Angeles, come check it out, or just be a part of the online community. But this is the synergy we've been looking for, and I'm grateful to be part of it.
Thank you. I feel like we're getting testimonials. This feels like a really welcome home ceremony. But thank you for that, Rachel. And it's always wonderful and inspiring to us to see you come in and work, and then we have some who come in and they're like, headphones, work, get out and go. Love you too. We love you too. Like whatever house space, we think of it as we're really talking about it as there's all kind of conversations about third spaces. And we really think of this as a fifth space, a space for belonging, a space for deeper connection. And so that's what we hope to continue to be. And we need to hear from you about what are you seeing? So we still have the first question of like, what are you building? But we also can add, if there's something you want from this space or a space, what would it be? And so we welcome any of those conversations.
To talk about what are we building, I have been in academia for the past 30 years, well, a little longer than that. But it came to me that in building my brand, okay, what could I do? So I do something now once a month called Hour to Honor. And I honor groups of people that work in social justice areas. And I do it here at Blackbird. And I took my little budget and said, this is what I'm gonna do for the next 12 months. And it's starting to grow. And what it is just honoring people. On the 24th, I'm honoring people that are in, I call them maternal change agents, people that work in maternal mortality space and reproductive justice, and also live streaming as a way to build a trusted collective, I call it. And also for people to know I'm here at Blackbird, it gives exposure to Blackbird, who is here in this wonderful city of Los Angeles. And it really is giving me what I need to come out of academia into entrepreneurship. And I'm learning things that I didn't know I needed to learn. And this is really a great situation for me. So however you can, maybe you don't get your nails done every week, but as you can see, I do my own hair, all that kind of stuff, so that I can take and invest in my company instead of just in things that are not really bringing me what I need in order for me to move forward. So I just want to put that plug in.
Invest in yourself. Yes, thank you. Hello.
Perfect.
No, you don't have to. You do not have to stand up.
This was more than I bargained for. I'm not a member. Actually, I didn't know what I was coming to. I was going to lunch with Ann. Yes. But I'm so glad. I don't believe in coincidences, so this must be synchronicity. Even that I wore this shirt, which is Quilombo Academic and Cultural Center. I live in Atlanta. I'm just here visiting. I used to live here, moved to Atlanta. Now I'm visiting. This is a 20-year-old school that is an independent Black school. And the founder's from LA. In fact, she went to Joyce High. I'm not to Umoja. Anyway, because of that, and you mentioned scaling cross-country and globally, so how would that look across state lines to partnership? Because I love a win-win or mutually beneficial kind of thing. And I even started a book company this year, Find Your Books, so that I could be an economic engine to support this school. And yes, how would that look? Glad you mentioned that. And my name is Chinwe.
Thank you, yes.
Sorry, Chinwe.
Thank you for sharing that. So at the moment, we are doing it through our Luminary Partner Network. I was just looking up, we have Arizona, California, North Carolina, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Florida, Georgia. We have the Lola, who's a partner. Oregon, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Tennessee, Massachusetts, Texas, Maryland, Utah, Michigan, Washington, Montana, Wyoming, and our global spaces are Canada, the Netherlands, Israel, and Senegal. So what that is any of you, Lisa knows this, like if you are in a different part of the world and we have a partner there, you can go twice a month. So if you travel, it's like you can go to that space and work. Usually when you're traveling, you don't really go a lot, but I have actually done that in a new city, and they're pretty aligned, often women-owned spaces, diverse, not just women of color, but women-owned spaces or intentionally aligned to spaces that are independent. So you're expanding your network and a place to just kind of go in a lot of these cities. I think for us, in terms of physical expansion, is something we would explore. At this time, we're more doing activations with our partners in different places to support them. And then there's a concentration of people needed. Like I get a lot of requests for New York, like a lot. So if that became something, it's a big venture for self-funded. At that point, I probably would concede to having to do a raise to do it. Just building this and keeping this for 7 years is, a lot for one person. And one day I would retire and hand things over to other people. But yeah, or go into chairwomanship is something I'd love to do at some point. But
So I heard you mention Georgia. Is that Atlanta?
Lola is in Atlanta. Yeah. So, but we can share the link to that too. So
And virtual memberships, yeah.
and virtual, yes. So we're building. We had a virtual membership, Once we open this, we kind of focused here, but it's something we do know. And part of what we shared in the it's not public, but it'll be a little public. This is still private on Zoom, but it is the biggest amplification of Storytelling Studios to get and curate our channel in a way that's accessible. The membership side, like the subscription, part of your membership is included that. We'll also allow virtual people who are just part of that, and then the space will become an amenity to them if they're in the city. But it expands our global reach, and we'll really be curating more content to expand with the partners and people who are doing the great work. Again, we're not the one and only. We want to be a bridge. And she talked about this before. We always wanted to be private and curated, but inclusive, and we didn't mean to be a secret. So for the amount that we have probably, like she said, 15,000 people who are friends of Blackbird and know it, and then we have the people who are active memberships here. We want that can expand with a channel in a way that we can do more, share this knowledge and information in a way that's deeper. And then our members who are visionary members will have their own way where we talk about supporting Black-owned and Brown-owned and women-owned and co-conspirators and allies, showing the people who are aligned that we want to support, right? So how do we support people who are, the boycotts we're doing? How do we do the opposite of that? How do we do the like the lean in or call in? So that is a way that we can do it with a channel. So we're really excited about that. A little beta this summer and then launch in the fall. But you have your voice. One of the things that also was important to me was finding my voice. And one of the partners we were meeting with early this morning has a very big reach. So we're going to expand our reach with the partners. And then some of our partners who have tiny reaches will expand theirs with ours. And then all rise the boats and the
Rising tide.
Yes, okay, we'll do that. Is there one more question and then we'll? Okay, 2 more questions and then we'll respect your time. We are, we're not bad. We're about an hour in. So if anyone has to leave too, please know we understand. But we'll have 2 more questions and then network and chat. And if any of you need to work the rest of the day and you're not a member, please just stay on us. And if you're a member, please stay and let's chat. But yes, thank you so much for coming today. And anyone online who has to sign off, this will replay. You'll have to fast forward a little bit to our rehearsal. But thank you for being here as well.
Hi. I actually, during the pandemic is when I found, I came to an event in your old space.
Oh.
And then I was one of the every Friday, 6 o'clock people.
Oh, finally Friday, we had a mocktails and cocktails. Yes. Wine and wine.
It was a beautiful thing during a not so beautiful time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always very grateful for that. A couple of things came to mind while speaking here. When I came in, I spoke to you about, I'm doing, so I do marketing and brand workshops. And so one of the things I was like, I'd love to host something here. I'm planning an 8-week workshop. That's kind of like a brand intensive because there are so many of us starting businesses and you know how to build a business. You don't know how to talk about the business. You don't know how to let anybody know that you have a business in a way that actually supports your business. So that's something that I'm working on. So having an environment like this, I think, especially when you're a solo entrepreneur or when you bring on flex teams, you do spend a good chunk of your time by yourself. And so being able to have these spaces of community is really important. So I just appreciate that. One of the things, I've heard the word resilience a lot, and I think that resilience is fine and great, but I also think we need to talk about joyful resilience because you can't just keep, even resilience is like sandpaper, and you just can't keep rubbing up against it all the time. You have to find how you can be joyfully resilient.
Yes.
And how the joy, as wellness is not optional, neither is the joy. And if you're finding yourself in a place where you're just resilient and you're just getting by, that's not good either.
No, it's draining.
My personal, I left my job last year, my full-time job. Like I said, I've been a consultant and I have a consultancy, but I left it because it was I'm choosing joy at this moment. I am choosing myself. I don't need your 401k.
Thank you.
But like, and I don't recommend that, by the way. Like, that's not me giving advice, but for myself.
But it's worked for you,
It's been the game changer for me. And so being able to also say, like, yes, there are 600,000 people leaving, but some of us are hot stepping out of there. Like, we're not trudging. Like, this is a great day where it's like,
Yes.
I'm feeling real good about it. So, like, I just think while we have this struggle, there's also the sweet, and I think sometimes the struggle gets a little too much airtime.
Yeah.
So just getting into that joyful space. And like I said, I would love to talk to you more about how this has been such a, even though I'm not a member, but I spent.
You were a member.
I mean, like, for months and months and months, this was just a Friday evening was a thing I looked forward to. And so, however I can continue to, like, pour into that as it poured into me, I'm just very happy.
Thank you, and we look forward to continue to pour into you some more on that. We have one more question, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. Thank you so much for that. And welcome back. Welcome home.
Yes, welcome home.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joy Donnell. I'm not a member. This is my first time in the space. I've been meaning to come to the space, but I had a lot of life like So I took this day as an excuse to come here, and my heart has been pounding in my chest. Lets me know that I'm actually in the right place. I actually did join another membership whose name I will not say. It was a big scandal. They like a lot of money. A lot of us ended up leaving because they did a New York Times piece where they basically said, we really aren't about women's issues, right? And like advancing women. And that was unfortunate for me because I'm a storyteller. I write books, I produce, I did way too many documentaries. And then I started an agency where we actually are cultural strategists for the advancement of women. And we actually do very big global narrative change work. So we've been part of changing how kids think about who can be in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Helped our client with getting things on air and TV and film and things like that. So that's the kind of work that we do, and I'm very dedicated to that. So I'm bringing up that other membership because there were women in there, we were organizing things within that social club. We were putting things together so women could figure out how to get on boards. To talk about what you were talking about earlier, India, figure out money, how to make the money make money for you, right? Investing, whether it's an ETF, and things like that. And also creating pipelines, which is what we thought was going to happen, so that not just us getting into this membership and having this social space, but being able to also facilitate someone who is, they don't have to be on the bubble. Maybe they're not even anywhere near the bubble. And we started knowing how to go into our communities, our other communities, and bring these women up so that they can be able to be part of this growing membership. So that's I know it didn't sound like a question, but that is my question. Like, if anyone gets involved in Blackbird, as you are expanding in this next year and your 5 years ahead, we want to cultivate things like that, those pipelines, those spaces so that women can learn how to get free financially, how to grow in opportunity with boards and things like that so that there's more ancillary income coming in. So they're not having to work so hard and they have more time to rest. They have more time for the Wellness Wednesdays and wellness every day. Like, what does that look like? Because that's what I'm very dedicated to, is people being able to get free. And I think that we have to create our own reparations right now. And this is how I start to think about that. So what would that look like?
Beautifully said, and thank you both for those actually very intersecting comments that are connected. It's what can we bring to the table, but what also can we pour into you? And what can we make sure that we're essentially set a standard of operations, a ethos of it's a mutual benefit society. What can I bring to you? I feel like I'm pouring it in and make sure that I'm reflected back. There's so many elements that are in we set ourselves up as a for-profit public benefit corporation, which means that your mission and your fiduciary responsibility to shareholders, which currently is just me, is equal. So I am always, my mission, even when, there's been a big check that could come every once in a while, that I think there was a very, very big one that would have set us on one of those. You get the numbers and it's the news, but the deal that I would have made I can't throw my community or myself under, and also I don't need it. So how do we get ourselves to that point where we have that freedom to not need it? How are we invested in each other and know that somebody has my back? Even though I could lose something and I've made many mistakes, how do we allow ourselves to make mistakes and nuance and not know the answer and not have to be super cape like there's some places I wear a cape and I'm good with that. That cape is cool and it's fly, but there's so many areas that if we're not open to going, we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to be that. You have knowledge and things that you're building that got you into whatever that space is. Some of these spaces have tiers. Our tier is really open. We also have the alliance end, and I'm really on Erin, who's doing that, couldn't be here today, but she at our next, what we'll do is quarterly, just like community check-ins, annual town halls. But where she comes from and what she's building with the alliance, we'd only done mentorship programs with that. Now it underwrites certain memberships. You will never know who's is underwritten. They are equally as much a member, but maybe need a little help boosting. I always want to be inclusive. If you're doing good work in the world, I do not ever want a membership rate to be an issue. We are $275. We're normally $325 a month. And we're like, what do we have to do right now for a certain community? Like maybe it's and that's reaching for someone where you get access to a $20 million building and you say, this is my office. So how do we change our thought and go, I spend $300 on Equinox, but I'm going to put $275 into the space that now I have a home that is building other people's homes. Because when we see each other, it's not just osmosis, it's actual like connecting, and it's energy. Like when you go forest bathing, it's like forest bathing with beautiful women of color who are killing the game. But how do we bathe in each other's radiance and make sure that enjoy and transform that? So specific to yours, I think one, we have to create content and opportunities to coach and create those spaces and teach courses. And maybe if a course needs a facilitator, we go, okay, well, I'll put some money down to that to make sure that other things we'll be hosting, we'll get sponsors to cover. That's part of what Daria and I are working on. There's some really cool ones coming. They take a while to develop, but more of that has to happen. And part of what our commitment is going, what does that look like for you? What are your ideas that you want to bring in as we put them together? So we're not just putting things that sound fun to us, but shift. And some stuff should just be fun. Like Fridays, we're going to have a lot of book series. So excited about the book series coming out. Those should be fun. Listening to authors tell their stories is part of it, and highlighting them, making sure we're bestsellers and that we understand how you buy a book. You don't buy the book on a certain real bossy thing. I haven't used that. I'm not going to say it because it's being live streamed, but I haven't used it for 8 years. Because it was a personal, quiet experiment. And I told the founder of that brand when I was at a dinner with him, I didn't know he was the founder. Not founder, he was the CEO. I didn't know he was the new CEO because he just said he was in logistics. Turns out he's the CEO of the same company. I told him I don't use it because I just want to see that small businesses, I go directly to their website. Once in a while, they actually facilitate through that unnamed, you all know what I'm talking about, truck thing that's going through. But how do we spend our money? How do we spend on each other? So there's so many ways you can do that. I think I went on a tangent that led me into such a passion about this, telling this guy I didn't. And then he's like, come up and see our facility, we're changing it. So I'm glad I spoke my truth. And he wasn't offended, and he's actually like, tell me more. So how do we go and speak our truths to the people and those of us who are doing it? Kiana, who I mentioned earlier, she'll be in a room and with a bunch of investors that don't look like her. It's like, where did you put your money? Khadijah, who's coming, is sitting in boardrooms and she's sitting with lawyers and she's like, have you invested? Also calling to task those. Sometimes it's hard coming from us, which is why we need our allies because they'll listen. But really, how do we shift, become a new paradigm in connection in a new ecosystem, or plug into the ecosystem that's doing it. We don't need to create a new one. We just need to make sure we know that collectively we're together. But I think that's a conversation too. And that's part of finding my voice. When I first was telling at our dinner that we had with the women at Redbird, the next one I had was a coffee in New York with a lawyer friend. And I was like, I'm creating this thing it sounds stupid, right? But I want to do a space for women of color. I've been to WeWork and I've been to this and I'm like, why isn't there one for us? And she was like, that's a great idea. Her saying that's a great idea made me feel like I would buy to start a space, but it made me feel like, oh, maybe I can go. So also, how are we speaking about each other? How are we uplifting each other? How are we making sure we maybe don't have it all together, but we have an idea? Go, try it. You may fall, but try it. Why not go? So I think there's a lot to that. I know I went on a whole tangent. I did not answer your question, but I feel you and I appreciate everyone here today.
Yeah, and having a container, and this is a container where all of that is possible, right? Where it's safe to try, safe to not have all the answers. That's what's beautiful about this container.
Yeah. So I want to respect your time. We will close this out, but we're around. Thank you to those online who signed in. This will replay, so you can sign in for questions. We'll even try to look at your questions. Thank you for coming, driving across town. It took me so long to get here from Santa Monica because somebody had an accident. But thank you for showing up for yourself. Really, you're showing up for yourself because everyone in this room is incredible. Like Anne Haley Brown said, when we all saw Roots, those of us who did, some of the babies in here don't know what we're talking about. But when we all saw Roots, it opened our minds to another way. When I've lived all over Africa. When I went to Ghana 2 weeks ago and I saw and stood in the dungeons and felt the energy, and I had homage to my ancestors who made it through incredible trauma to get here, and to look out on this room and see we are miracles. We are miracles. And how do we continue to remember? Just don't forget. It's by looking at each other, being in space with each other, making sure we got you. You are doing it. You're killing the game, doing beautiful things. You have legacy. So let's keep doing that. It is not just woo-woo. You say it's woo-woo, it's just real.
It's real.
It's real. It's real. But I want to think of it as, not just magical. It is magical, but it's not just magical.
No, I hear you.
So thank you for being here. Please come more. Again, if you need to work today, eat some more snacks. And we will send out a follow-up to this next week with the next date and keep you posted on our events. Please come, enjoy your space, especially those of you who are members. Come often, show up, put us on your weekly budget. Not budget, but like calendar. Yeah, you already put it on the budget. You already paid, so you might as well come. But thank you. Each and every one of you, it means a lot. If you don't need space and you just come and you do events or you do your offsite or that, everywhere that you engage. And then if we can pour into you and you don't have the resources, there's a quiet way to just say, I want to be a part of this, but I can't right now. Let us ride you through for a moment till you build that back up. Don't let that be an exclusive. I grew up so without any, I waited in government cheese line and it's humiliating. And I don't want you to ever feel like something isn't. And now I can ride on yachts, but I don't like yachts. But I like that you can have the trajectory of, it's not that, it's like, who are you engaged with? All that matters is the people that you're engaged with. So thank you.
We can be a renewable resource for each other.
Yes.
And that's what is beautiful about it.
So I invite us to take a collective breath together and then have a beautiful day. We're going to breathe in. Anyone who wants to, we just do a 3 breaths. You breathe, put your feet on the ground. You can close your eyes, keep them open. This is just to feel the resonance of this moment. If you're at home, please do the same. And you're going to breathe in for 7 counts. You're going to hold it for 7 counts. You're going to breathe out for 7 counts, and you're going to hover. And we'll do that 3 times. See what you sense. See if you feel the temperature on your arms in a different way, the clothing you're wearing, a tickle in your ear, a sound that goes by. There's no work to do here. It's just breathe. You already are doing it. Now you're just intentionally doing it. So if you can blow the air out of your body and breathe in for 7. Hold it. And breathe out. Hover. While you're hovering, let the air come back in. If you want to follow your own breathing path, be as disobedient as you need to be. This is for you. And then we'll breathe in again. If you empty your diaphragm of air and then breathe in for 7. Hold. And breathe out. And hover. Any of the words that people said resonate with you, let that be a mantra, let that be just a badge, let that be a reminder, an encouragement. Know that your value is deeper than you sometimes allow it to be. You are incredible. You are a miracle. We'll breathe in one last time together. The air out of your diaphragm. You can breathe in for 7. Hold it. And breathe out. Just hover with that. Remember who you are. Remember how you talk to yourself and others. Invest in yourself. I appreciate you being here. It really, really, in this profound time in the universe, your work is vital. Your time is vital. And your rest is vital. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so please eat all the food. Thank you. Thanks for having me.